Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I want to talk about heroes I think are currently a little bit overrated or actually very overrated in the current patch. I talked about this with my friends and we kind of just went down the list of heroes and discussed essentially what we thought were heroes that are being picked right now or prioritized right now that probably shouldn't be nearly as much as they are. So without further ado, let's get into it. Smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content we make. And yeah, let's get into it. By the way, guys, if you want to become absolutely broken, well, what you need to do is sign up to the gameleap website down below right now. The reason why you should do that is because every single day we post a new video there. Content that you simply just will never get on YouTube, we post every single day to the website. It's really top tier stuff. I'm very proud of what I make over there. We also have other creators, many of my great friends who are top tier Dota players, creating guides about different heroes, different roles, different items, skill builds, talent builds, everything you need to know to get to the next rank. So if you feel a little bit lost, you're a little bit stuck, click the link down below. I'll see you guys there. And now let's get into the video. All right, so the first hero on the list is Shadow Fiend. So Shadow Fiend currently has a sub 50% win rate, and the hero did receive quite a few buffs to right-click Shadow Fiend in specific. And I've actually had top tier players in my games picking safe lane and mid lane Shadow Fiend as a right-clicker. Now, Shadow Fiend for the longest time has been an irrelevant hero. The hero definitely has not been very good for very long. I've been saying this to people that I don't know what Shadow Fiend does well. I don't know what he does better than anyone else, besides the fact that he's a good laner. This hero basically relies entirely on the fact that if, that he could potentially crush his lane. If he doesn't crush his lane, it might be the worst hero in the game. And I almost am not just saying that. I sort of believe that. And honestly, that just hasn't changed. Even though the hero's right-clicking is better, and I do like the, Treads, Dragonlance, Silver Edge build. It makes quite a bit of sense into like a Satanic. It's not useless, but I don't know. I still think there's heroes that simply do his job better than him in almost every scenario. For instance, right now, I would almost rather have a Lina over an SF every single game. Both heroes die just as easily. However, well, honestly, Lina gets at least some movement speed. SF doesn't get anything, and she can burst people in side lanes. You might be like, oh, but SF can burst people in side lanes. I mean, sort of, but it's super unreliable compared to Lina. Next up on the list is Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter is kind of a tough one for me, but it definitely seems to be the case that he's just overrated. People are kind of just losing with the hero, and the reason why I sound so hesitant when I say this is because I really feel, and I thought, that Gyro would be one of the top carries of the patch. I was very convinced that the changes to Flat Cannon at level 15, giving you 2 extra charges, would be the difference. I thought that the Dragonlance plus stats plus Flat Cannon build, or even just Dragonlance plus the new Flak in general, would be good enough to catapult this hero to the top of the meta. And that just hasn't been the case. So the hero is 100% overrated as a result. He was hyped up by a ton of people, including myself, and yeah, it's just not performing. It seems like Flak's just not good enough. And honestly, I will say that I think a big reason why the hero isn't performing is I think people are over prioritizing Flak. I strongly believe in this. People are throwing away winning Gyrocopter lanes because they're maxing Flak. And no, it's not a bad laning spell, but what I'm trying to say is they'll have a matchup like Underlord and they'll have like a Bane in their lane and have the opportunity to dominate this Underlord, and they'll max Flak, and it's like, okay, I get it, it's the build, you flash farm, it's totally understandable, but you also could have potentially gotten 3-4 kills in the lane and made the offlaner have no game. The third hero I want to talk about is Invoker. Invoker is just still 48% win rate. I can't understand why, because I would imagine that most of the people that pick Invoker are Invoker spammers and understand how to generally carry the game, but I think that's kind of the problem. It's just like really hard to carry the game as Invoker. Every time I play this hero, even as of late, like I was literally running in-houses on my Twitch stream, and I'm playing with players that, there's quite a few good players in the game, but like I was definitely the highest ranked by a bit in this Invoker game I played, and I still couldn't solo carry the game. And you might be like, oh, but Speed, you're not an Invoker expert. I'm not, but I'm definitely pretty good at the hero. I'm pretty good. It's just hard to carry because you don't shove in lanes that quickly, right? Like, what's your best lane shove spell? Meteor. It's like a 40-something second cooldown, 45. And then, yeah, you could buy the shard, but then still, it's a long cooldown. And so that's not the best method. And yeah, you do have Forge Spirits and Alacrity, and it's not like you can't shove waves, but it's also really hard to solo kill people until you have, like, Hex and understand to do the wombo combos. And so, yeah, I just feel like this hero It's kind of like an SF to me, except with a bad laning stage, which is kind of funny, because, you know, it's like, that's all SF has going for him. Invoker has much better team fighting. He's much harder to kill in fights as well. He has a lot of defensive options, so essentially Invoker is like, how I assume he's like, kind of like, I don't know, he does remind me of SF in a lot of ways, even though they kind of are different now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, that's just besides the point. I don't recommend this hero. I don't recommend learning it right now. Coming in at number 4 is Hoodwink. This is a really sad one because this was one of the best position 5s and position 4s of the patch previous to 7.30. Then the hero just got nerfed over and over and over again. Do I think Hoodwink is a useless hero? By no means do I think that. At a current 49% win rate, I just think it's overrated. I still believe people kind of see this hero as like the end-all be-all position 4 that has AoE, you know, no vision stun and a 45-second cooldown finger of death that breaks. And yes, it does still have those things, but they really did hard nerf the W, basically making the damage tick, can lose you kills, and it makes clearing waves just very awkward. You can often miss CS because of it, and it just is odd. That in and of itself is very weird. And they kind of just nerfed the numbers of Hoodwink overall in the patch, and so the hero has dropped by 0.3%, which is nothing crazy. I just think this is an overrated hero with a mildly high pick rate. Coming in at number 5 is probably the most controversial hero of the list, and that is Keeper of the Light. Now, don't get me wrong, this hero was buffed. It's better this patch than the last patch. All I'm trying to say is that this hero currently in pubs sits at a 49.5% win rate. Now, if you're a professional player that understands how to shove waves and really take full advantage of what this hero provides in terms of map control, I do believe it is one of the best heroes in the game. That being said, most of you guys are not that. I hate to break it to you. Yet, of course, because you have gameleap subs, obviously you're going to get to the top level. I mean, you're basically, you know, road to Artesia at this point. But considering you're not there yet, I don't think Coddle is as good as people think. Do I think he's a great pub hero that dominates lanes, farms, and then scales? Yes, which is awesome for pubs. The major problem here is just the fact that people don't know how to abuse his Q. They don't know how to, you know, push in waves properly, where to push in waves. His abilities are not easy to use. They actually require quite a bit of foresight. Blinding Light is not an easy spell to use. It's actually quite a grief in a lot of situations if you bump people away from your team. And so you have to, like, Zero's not easy. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not like some line. It's like stun, damage. Nope, it's like really confusing. And so yeah, this hero as a 4 and a mid laner, definitely something to consider spamming and practicing. However, considering the fact that it's currently dominating the pro scene, I expect it to get nerfed, and as a result, it will become, once again, not that great in pubs. It's also still a sub 50% win rate hero, and so yeah, I just don't. If you see a Coddle and you're like, oh my god, this hero is so broken, it's annoying. It's one of the most annoying heroes in the game. It's just not broken. Coming in at number 6 is just maybe the worst hero in Dota. It's Phantom Assassin. I know. Every time I bring up Phantom Assassin in a video, people are always like, yeah, but speed, you know, I crush my pubs with Phantom Assassin. You know, I keep winning, and I'm like, I don't even know if that's true. You know what I mean? I think people are just like lying on behalf of Phantom Assassin, but I really don't know what this hero is good at. Honestly, what is it good at? And I'm a big PA fan. If you guys watch any of the DPC, you know I like picking PA. I did, but honestly, like, even then the hero was a bit questionable. I think I just liked playing it and it was a bit better. It's just gotten nerfed multiple times and it's not a good laner. It doesn't farm fast. It doesn't scale late game. And you might be like, oh, speed! PA doesn't scale late game? No! It's not a good, it's a bad late game hero. Like, I never see this hero win late game. You compare it to something like an Ursa, or a Slark, or a Sven for that matter, or a Spectre, or a Dusa, it just doesn't kill anyone. Like, when it gets to the point in the game, when everyone has a Ghost Scepter, and a Yules, and the carries are like mega farmed, I feel like PA just can't kill anyone. She just can't, especially considering the fact she doesn't even farm fast. It's not like a Sven. You know, Sven is basically PA, right? Except Sven has a stun in lane, which lets you easily pressure people in certain circumstances. He has much better stats, he has better attack range, and he has a farming mechanism when the laning stage ends. He also has a reliable way to do burst damage. PA's unreliable, which I don't like. And so yeah, this hero has very high pick rate in low MR pubs, and like it is better in low MR pubs than high MR pubs because like people don't put that much pressure in lane, and the games tend to go like at least to the 40-minute mark. But I don't know, it's just such a bad hero. It just is. So much so to the point that it has a 45% win rate right now. It is a bottom 10 hero in Dota. Coming in at number 7 is Rubick. I love talking about Rubick because there's always a lot of Rubick fanatics, right? It's a very, it's a fan favorite hero, and rightfully so. It's like a Pudge. It's just a very interesting concept. But it has a 44% win rate right now. It's not good. People are like, Speed, do you think Rubick? And to be fair, I wasn't even sure, but as I've looked at the stats and like paid attention to how this hero's doing, it's actually worse, seemingly. It's gone down 1% in win rate, according to Dota Buff. And yeah, people have been arguing, they're like, oh, yeah, but Speed, the level 15, 25% stolen spells cooldown is just so broken. But then you have to consider the fact that Rubick's main timing is not level 15, it's level 6. So it doesn't really help him with that. He's not a good laner. They nerfed his laning state very hard compared to what it used to be. He typically only reduces damage by about 6 or 7. It used to be 20. It was like 3 times as good. You can imagine why that was quite the nerf. And so yeah, I just don't think Rubick does anything particularly well. When he was getting first phase picked in professional Dota, it was largely because this hero was actually a good laner, and people didn't realize that. It was a good laner. Like, Rubick was known for his laning because of Fade Bolt. That's just not the case anymore, and telekinesis is pretty freaking bad at level 1. Like, this hero has nothing going for it until it hits level 6, and it just kind of sucks. And so yeah, you get this 15-25% stolen spells cooldown, and that's cool and all, but like, that's about it, right? Like, that's all this hero has going for it, and it has to hit level 15 as a support to get there. Yeah, it's a hero that can farm, but that's the problem. It farms, and for what? A lot of games, it's like, for what? I can have this Earthshaker with a Blink Dagger or Rubick, and sometimes Rubick can steal some good spells and carry the fights. I'm not denying that, but most of the time, that's not the case. And finally, last but not least, is actually Lina. I know, this one's surprising because Lina has been dominating, doing very well in the pro scene. The problem is the hero is actually very hard. It is one of the most mana-intensive heroes in Dota. Lina's mana pool, compared to what she has to expend, is brutal. Brutal. It is brutal. The amount of, like, game sense just for mana usage you have to have on Lina to be good at this hero is like, hard in and of itself. Okay, you think I'm kidding? I'm not. You should try playing Lina mid. It's rough to sustain your mana. Especially assuming you're going the current meta build, which is typically bots into BKB. No mana. Okay, bots is, kind of a mana item because you go back to base more with it, but you get the point. Currently a 46.33% win rate hero. It recently got nerfed as well. The reason why it's good in the pro scene is people know how to flash farm and people know how to shove waves. It's kind of like the coddle, like I was talking about, right? Heroes with wave shove naturally are better the higher you go, okay? Because people know how to abuse it. Does that make sense? And so you might be like, oh, so can I abuse that to gain more? Yeah, you should learn how to shove more waves. Like, most players never farm enough waves and never shove enough waves, and they never go further enough. It's just the case. Like, just watch a bunch of games and really pay attention to how much pros, how much they run down lanes, how much they even die to push in lanes compared to your average player. But nonetheless, Lina is one of those heroes. One of the best wave shove heroes in the game. Just so good at showing up to fights late and cleaning them up. But I've coached so many low MMR players and medium MMR players, and like, people just largely don't get this concept or struggle with it. They always feel like they have to immediately be at the fight or setting up kills or sieging a tower, and it just makes this hero feel so bad. It's like if you play that way on SF, the hero is just horrendous. It's horrendous. It just dies. Lina's kind of the same way. So you have to learn to flash farm, you have to learn to dominate the lane, and you have to learn to split push. And these things are some of the hardest ideas to really conquer in Dota. You compare it to something like a freaking Wraith King who's been nerfed 15 times in a row, but it doesn't matter. The hero is still going to have a pretty high win rate because of its ease of use. It's currently at 52%. You could also compare it to something like Omni Knight. It's really not a hard hero, and so it has a high win rate. And so, yeah, that really does matter. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video where I talked about what I think are some of the most overrated heroes. If you agree or disagree, I'm happy to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. Hopefully, I'll see you guys in my upcoming Twitch stream that I'll be hosting either tonight or tomorrow night. And yeah, I'm out. Peace! And that's all, but remember, before you leave, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!